My name is Howard Trimbeth. I'm undergoing the most significant transformation of my existence. I delayed marriage until my career was firmly established. Lilith, my one and only spouse, was born just 1 month after me. We both marked our 50th birthdays earlier this year. When we wed, we had no assets requiring protection, so no prenuptial agreements were created. Lilith and I have resided in this house for 21 years. We moved in a year after our wedding and then brought our firstborn home 2 months after settling in. Our second child arrived 2 years later. Both children are now away at university. I recently persuaded Lilith that we should relocate to a community designed for couples over 50. After firmly committing to our new residence, we signed a contract and paid several thousand in earnest money to secure the property. This explains why most of our possessions are now in boxes. However, I won't be moving to that house in the gated community. Actually, neither of us will. I just finished a call with the realtor withdrawing our offer. Sacrificing a couple $1,000s to execute my departure was a small price. Our time in this house has concluded, though we must vacate as we attended the closing 3 days ago on Monday. We have until a week from tomorrow to surrender the keys. Lilith believes I departed on a business trip yesterday morning. I haven't been employed since submitting my resignation a week ago. I purchased a one-way ticket to Atlanta from Atlanta. I have transportation arranged and will drive to the Gulf before boarding a vessel. I should reach my island sanctuary within days. I don't intend to divorce Lilith. I do plan to take the entire proceeds from our house sale, my 401k distribution, and the majority of our savings under a newly established identity. I hope to spend my remaining years sailing around the Caribbean. Establishing offshore accounts with electronic banking and appropriate money laundering has cost more than I care to admit. All those funds now reside in cryptocurrency accounts under my new identity. With over 10,000 cryptocurrencies available, I fervently hope the one I selected endures. I intend to convert that virtual currency back into something more stable as soon as possible. Imaginary things can vanish at the most inconvenient moments, much like Lilith's wedding promises. Around 3 p.m., I phoned Lilith. She answered after 4 rings, sounding irritated. "Hi, babe. How was your trip?" "All right. Same stuff, different city. What are you doing?" "Just boxing more items." Line number 1. She's 30 miles away at Arnold's residence. He is Lilith's current paramour. I'm uncertain if he's her first lover. Truthfully, I don't care. One is excessive. While I might desire to end their lives violently, my revenge is simply to leave Lilith destitute. Arnold's wife will likely devastate him financially. Are you marking the boxes containing your belongings? Yes, dear. Mine are clearly labeled Lilith. Yours are marked Howard. It will be quite simple to place yours in your closet and mine in mine. Would you check my desk for my planner? It should be in the top right drawer. After a pause, I don't see it. Are you certain about its location? Line number 2. You would need to be inside my residence, as my brother currently is, to even verify. My only concern was ensuring my brother had sufficient time to empty the house I sold. Since she apparently has no intention of returning soon, I'm confident my plans need no adjustment. No problem. You mentioned having lunch with friends today. Where did you go? Would I recognize anyone? We went to the diner near my office. Just some colleagues from work. What are your dinner plans? Line number 3. My investigator reports you drove to Arnold's residence at 9 a.m. and haven't departed yet. I'll probably order a steak from room service. The company covers it. What's your evening agenda? Just another load of laundry and packing. I hear the dryer signaling. I should go. Call me later. I love you. Talk to you soon. I suppose once deception begins, it becomes progressively easier. Nothing about this woman remained credible. 2 rental trucks were at my former residence with 4 individuals loading items rapidly. The truck containing my possessions was headed to the storage unit my brother rented this morning. The other truck was making its 4th journey to the consignment store. Both vehicles were due back to the rental agency by 5 p.m. By the time I concluded my call with Lilith, my former house was likely vacant. I awaited confirmation from my brother. He certainly earned the $5,000 I paid him. The overnight package addressed to my attorney was prepared. I'd signed all legal documents and was sending those, my house keys, and the garage door opener. Lilith would need to surrender her keys and opener as well. My attorney would contact her soon. I didn't bother calling Lilith again when I attempted to inform Arnold's wife about the investigator's report. She terminated the call. Such is existence. She'll receive the report with photographs and videos as it's being hand-delivered today. Then there were the 16 packages I mailed to Lilith's parents, her friends, her employer, her siblings, and for good measure, our children all received identical packages. I included notes in my children's packages expressing my disappointment in their silence and uncertainty about future contact. The package I felt most satisfied about sending to Lilith allowed me to express my feelings. Beyond stirring conflict, I'm unsure what I hoped to accomplish. Still, it provided satisfaction. Lilith, by now, you likely realize your unfaithful activities have resulted in the dissolution of your marriage. I've taken all readily available funds. I've also taken what I desired from the house. Our remaining possessions were delivered to a consignment store for sale. My attorney has the details. You may claim the proceeds. I'm unconcerned about such a negligible sum. Don't search for your jewelry. Those cash-for-gold establishments provided a substantial sum. Your aunt's rings yielded the most. My wedding band generated little. Incidentally, that jewelry set from Arnold? It wasn't particularly valuable. Similar to your wedding vows. The house is now empty, and I withdrew our offer for the new residence. That was merely a stratagem to acquire all proceeds from our house. Thanks for your cooperation. I don't plan to divorce you. You can expend your resources doing that, if and when you accumulate enough. I intend to replace you promptly. Not that you're concerned. I informed our children of my disappearance. Since both were aware of your affairs and remained silent, I've decided to disown them. I've communicated this to them as well. Hopefully, those poor choices won't cause excessive distress. I left your father's pistol and ammunition. Unfortunate you were too occupied to join me in shooting lessons. Well, point and pull the trigger. Understand? If you're contemplating drastic measures, proceed cautiously. Had Arnold remained discreet, I might never have discovered your relationship. Boasting to that bartender about his intimate encounters caused your downfall. What were the odds he'd visit my brother Steve's establishment? Steve said he immediately noticed, since few women bear a name like Lilith. Karma, I suppose. Especially when Arnold shared that inappropriate image when paying by credit card, Steve requested identification. Subsequently, gathering evidence was straightforward. All this effort for someone so undeserving. How foolish can you be? Never mind. Sufficiently foolish. I hope you weren't planning to abandon me for Arnold. You can still depart with him, but with him as your companion. Thanks for a few cherished memories, but predominantly, all other memories are corrupted. Howard, rather than retain my phone, I gave it to a homeless individual by the hotel dumpster. I'd recorded all contact information I valued. I slept soundly. Truthfully, it required several miniature alcohol bottles from the hotel room. Since everything was charged to my credit card, I was unconcerned. I had no intention of remaining to settle any bills. I doubt any invoices will be paid. Lilith has been a homemaker for 22 years. She worked until becoming pregnant shortly after our marriage. My reasonably lucrative position eliminated her need to work. Excessive free time after our children graduated high school proved her undoing. My investigator couldn't determine how Lilith and Arnold met, or the duration of their relationship. He discovered that both my children had met them. For unknown reasons, Lilith had visited their campus and taken them to dinner. The investigator followed and recorded audio and video. I identified both my children. Arnold was introduced as her companion. Whatever Lilith promised them sealed their fate. They had ample opportunity to contact me, but never did. After charging breakfast to my room, I took a taxi to the used car dealership. I simply departed the hotel. I'll let Lilith attempt to understand why I didn't check out. With my economical vehicle, I reached the coast by Saturday evening. I had successfully withdrawn local currency from my new identities account. My initial purchase was dinner and drinks. A very amiable woman convinced me to spend more money compared to the companionship I'd experienced for over 2 decades. This one was enthusiastic. It required hours between sessions, but I received fair value for the night. Exchange rates allowed me to do this daily if desired. Currently, that's my preference. Planning new email accounts? I purchased a notebook computer and cell phone. Connecting the new me to my previous identity will be challenging. I established a VIP phone number and received updates from Steve. He indicated Lilith called and terminated the conversation when he teased her about their relationship. From Lilith's perspective, at least Howard left me the gun. In my condition, I contemplate ending everything nightly. I was intoxicated by attention. I never realized Arnold was simply manipulating me into becoming his plaything. Had someone suggested a year ago that I would have an affair, I'd have dismissed it as impossible. Apparently, I was vulnerable. I encountered Arnold at the gym. He exercised during my usual time. How did I believe those rehearsed deceptions? Somehow, I craved someone besides Howard telling me I was attractive and desirable. He was methodical. Compliments evolved into drinks and parking lot conversations. Deciding to drive to a fast food restaurant was my initial mistake. Why would a married woman meet a married man privately? It took months of gradual manipulation before inappropriate touching occurred when parting. I began thinking about Arnold during intimate moments with Howard. That likely facilitated inappropriate physical encounters. Having mentally crossed that boundary, it was a small step. Having my ego gratified about my performance accelerated my downfall. We progressed to weekly meetings at his vacation home. Returning slightly late from errands was simple. When Howard traveled for several days, I became Arnold's companion. Eventually, he convinced me to leave Howard, take my portion of our assets, and he would similarly leave his wife. We could continue our relationship as partners. I inexplicably told my children, perhaps guided by Arnold, to solidify my intention to abandon my marriage. When Howard departed for Atlanta, I remained undecided. I thought I handled Howard's call skillfully. Only the next morning, preparing to leave, did I read my sister's message. She'd received Howard's package detailing my affair. Arnold, Howard knows. Good. Initiate divorce proceedings. I remained silent, having not decided if I truly wanted divorce. I vomited in the bathroom. What have I done? A car arrived, and a gentleman served Arnold divorce papers. That unfaithful woman. She won't leave me destitute. Handle your own affairs. I'm leaving. Arnold departed after struggling home. I found our house completely empty. I vomited again while slumped over the toilet. Someone rang our doorbell. An overnight package awaited. I feared the worst. Howard's letter devastated me. I called my children and described my nightmarish situation. Both had received packages with video evidence of my relationship with Arnold. They were shocked that Howard wanted no further contact with them. I suppose they hoped to explain their reasons. I certainly did. After purchasing fast food, I visited the consignment shop. Surprisingly, my credit card remained active. Some items had already sold, and the unpleasant proprietor said recovering my possessions required a cancellation fee. Buying back selected items was more economical. The fast food churned uncomfortably in my stomach. When I called Howard's cell, an intoxicated stranger answered. My children had no better success. I doubted Steve would assist, but attempted contact. He laughed at my inquiries. Tell you what, Lilith, I'll pay you $50 nightly as a topless waitress. You'll need specialized undergarments to enhance your assets. What do you say? Go to hell, jerk. Don't claim I didn't offer assistance. Speaking of relationships, I heard yours was given to someone besides your husband. I terminated the call. This was life's longest weekend. Sleeping on the floor, determining what else to reclaim from the consignment store. My only footwear was what I wore home that day. None of my cosmetics survived. I visited a discount store for bathroom essentials. I attempted conversations with friends and family, but Howard had sent them videos. No one wanted any association with me. Howard's attorney's call was disturbing. The locks would be changed Friday, regardless of my presence. Trespassing charges were possible if the new owners pursued them. Thursday night, I loaded my meager possessions into my vehicle and slept at an inexpensive motel. The dismissive clerk treated me like a troubled woman. I had become homeless. I knew we had financial accounts, but after reading Howard's note, expected no remaining funds. Each institution required extensive convincing that I deserved access. I couldn't secure even modest accommodations with what Howard left. Fortunately, our credit cards remained active. With careful spending, I could survive on those cards for a year or until cancellation. My inquiries for divorce representation only increased my distress. I lacked sufficient funds to retain counsel. None would accept contingent payment. When Arnold called claiming homelessness, I laughed. He suggested miserable companionship. I told him my location, leaving the door ajar while waiting in my car. I left Arnold instructions to undress. Minutes after his entry, I returned to find a naked Arnold staring at me. I recalled Howard's words, point and pull trigger. I fired once, the bullet striking almost perfectly between his eyes, though I aimed for his heart. I flushed the note and awaited police. The responding officer seemed doubtful when I claimed self-defense against an unrecognized naked intruder. Stand your ground law, you understand. They confiscated the weapon and escorted me to headquarters. Initially released, I was arrested 2 days later for first-degree murder. The recorded phone call suggested I ambushed Arnold. My inexperienced public defender offered little hope for acquittal. At least my financial and housing concerns were temporarily suspended. Prison challenges overwhelmed me. I encountered unimaginable situations, forced into uncomfortable and degrading circumstances. After several nights of intense emotional and physical distress, I reached breaking point. When a fellow inmate attempted to dominate me, I defended violently, stabbing her. This removed me from that cell, but placed me in solitary confinement. My trial outcome might be irrelevant, as my former cellmate warned of serious danger when I inquired about my missing dinner. The guard said compliance with his demands was necessary to receive food. After a humiliating situation, I received my meal. I wanted death. "Steve, it's Howard. What's new?" "Better sit down, Howard." Lilith killed Arnold, then attempted suicide. She's institutionalized. Hearing Steve describe Lilith's ordeal was surreal. "I'll contact you later, Steve." My thoughts are racing. My attorney promised investigation and advised patience. Would returning home endanger me? How do I repatriate my funds? He suggested waiting while he confirmed Steve's account and evaluated my options. Walking near the beach, I quickly found companionship. I enjoyed my newfound freedom. After hours of entertainment, I retired for the night. Fortunately, my valuables remained secure in the safety deposit box. The expense was justified. I couldn't recall her name, but might recognize her the next day. Unable to locate the previous night's companion, I found another willing woman. This legal arrangement functioned well at reduced cost. This new companion provided brief entertainment. I'm addicted to these encounters. My previous life vanishes during engagement with these women. I once read money couldn't purchase happiness. Money buys ice cream. Ice cream brings happiness. There appears to be inconsistency. Similarly with companionship. Having a loving spouse was pleasant until she wasn't. Helping these single working mothers seems humanitarian. Nearly 9 months have passed since my attorney said I could return. I doubt that will happen. I've rarely missed daily encounters since the first. Sometimes I sample various companions throughout the night. At lunchtime, they demonstrate interest when seeing me. Apparently I've been overpaying, but not from my perspective. Once I tried 2 companions simultaneously but found it less enjoyable. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Still harboring resentment toward my children, I sent each a greeting card with a quarter attached. Next time you face a difficult decision, I hope you find inner strength and courage to choose correctly. If not, here's a quarter to flip. Keep it. It's all I'm leaving you. Lilith remains institutionalized, considered mentally unstable. Murder charges persist, so improvement in her condition only means facing legal consequences. And so concludes today's narrative. Was it as expected, or did it take an unforeseen direction? I'm interested in your thoughts. Share them below to start a conversation. If this story captivated you, please like it. If you're new or haven't subscribed, now's perfect to join our community. I deliver fresh, engaging stories daily, so subscribe and activate notifications to stay updated. Thanks for watching and see you next time.